Good morning, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Vincent back again. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, May 26th, 2020. I will wish you a belated, we learned that vocabulary word last time we were together, but a belated Memorial Day. Hopefully you were still able to enjoy your celebrations, even though it might have looked a little bit different than it typically does. So welcome back to what is going to be my last language lesson with you for our time together. We really are winding things down and coming to the end of our school year and our time together learning from home. I do genuinely want to thank all of you kids and parents for really helping us, being patient with us as we learned the technology, and for really stepping in to help become teachers collaboratively. So I really do want to give a huge thank you from my home to your home. I do have one last lesson for you today, and because we are coming to the end, I'm actually taking two skills and we're going to kind of squish them together today. So please bear with me and know that we are kind of doing two at once. So I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible for you. The first thing we are going to start with today is something called negative words. So words that tell no or not, okay? Because we're going to use it for part 2 of this lesson. So some words are negative words is what we would call them. The word yes is not a negative word, okay? Words that are kind of rooted in no or not are really going to be the focus for today's learning, okay? Those are negative words. So I'm going to start giving you a bunch of words, okay? And I'm going to make a list. And if you hear a word that is positive, A-okay, hunky-dory, keep right on moving. But if you hear a word that is negative, you're going to tell me to stop. And I'm going to pretend that I hear you through this camera here, okay? Make sure that you are saying stop whenever you hear a negative word, okay? Remember, negative words are words that tell no or not. So listen to my list. Do, will, no, stop. The word no is a negative word. Let's try some more. Will, do, don't, stop. The word don't is a negative word, and we're going to talk more about him a little bit later. He's something called a contraction, okay? But the word don't is a negative word, okay? Here's some more. Have, won't, stop. The word won't is also a negative word, okay? Words that tell no or not. Here's some more. Everything, something, nothing. Yes, the word nothing is a negative word. Great job. For a spelling friend, it literally has the word no in there. So the word nothing is a negative word. Great job. Always, never, stop. The word never, again, it doesn't actually have the word no or not in it, but it means the same thing, okay? A negative word is the idea of no, you can't do something, or not, like not able to happen, okay? A few more. Some, all, none, stop. The word none is a negative word. Could, would, shouldn't. Stop. Shouldn't is a negative word. Again, it's one of those contractions we're going to talk about now. Because when you think about the word shouldn't, it's really two words that we squish together. So when I'm in the classroom, I'm going to shift myself over a little bit. We talk about how a contraction is two words that we squish together. And in the squishing, some of the letters get lost, but they're replaced by something called an apostrophe. You might have seen these in your writing. You see them sometimes in your storybook, but an apostrophe is the one that's up in the air, not down on the ground, okay? So we were talking about the word shouldn't. When we think about that word shouldn't, it's really two words, should, not, that we squish together and it becomes shouldn't. So because it has the word not in it, it is a negative word. Shouldn't is a negative word, but it's also called a contraction. Two words that we squish together. It's something that we use a lot in conversation, so when you talk to people, because it's a little bit faster to say. But as you get older, you're gonna learn it's not something we use as often in our writing, especially formal writing. But it's okay to use in conversation because it is a quicker way to say it, okay? When you squish together two things and just make it one word, okay? So I'm gonna ask you some silly questions. Kids often laugh at me when I ask these, okay? But it is going to incorporate these contractions in there as well, okay? So listen to my statement and then you are gonna have to make up a statement but using a contraction. So here's my question. Are there any alligators in this room? Now, I know you can't see all around my room, but do you think Mrs. Vincent has alligators at home with her? The answer is no. So I asked you, are there any alligators in this room? So what I want you to do is say the statement with a contraction. Now we'll get there, okay? But no, there are not any alligators in this room, okay? I said are not. You are gonna take the word are not, squish them together, and you're gonna make the word aren't. That's the contraction, okay? So listen, there are not alligators in this room. Now it's your turn with the contraction. Get ready. Yes, there aren't any alligators in this room, thankfully, okay? So I said the two words as a standalone. You squish them together, okay? Here's another one. I've got a board back here. Does this board have fingers? No. This board does not have any fingers. I said does not. You need to squish it together. Does not becomes doesn't. Great job. So I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say the statement first. The board does not have any fingers. Your turn with the contraction. Get ready. Yes, the board doesn't have any fingers. That would be a little absurd to go back to some old learning. Excellent. So again, these two contractions that we just practiced, does not, the board does not have any fingers, becomes doesn't when we squish it together. There are not any alligators in this room. There aren't any alligators in this room. Both of those are negative words because they both have the word not in it, but they're also a contraction, an easier way to kind of speak in conversation. So I just want to practice a few because we don't have a lot of time together. I've got a list of some contractions. And again, for today, we're talking all about negative words, words that mean no or not. So all of these contractions have the word not in it. That is not to say that that's the only contractions we can make, but that's just our focus for today, okay? A contraction by definition kind of is when you take two words, squish them together. As you get a little bit older, you'll learn that there are some rules for how you spell it and what letters kind of get dropped and replaced with that apostrophe. But that's kind of another lesson for another day as you're a little bit older, okay? For right now, let's just practice some of these other contractions, okay? Listen to my first one. Are not becomes aren't. Great job. Listen, is not, squish it together, becomes isn't. Great job. Were not becomes, squish it together, weren't. Excellent. Was not, squish them together, becomes wasn't. Great job. This one's a little, actually it's the next one, sorry. This one, do not squish it together becomes don't. Great job. Does not squish it together becomes doesn't. Great job. A few more. Should not squish it together becomes shouldn't. Great job. Would not squish it together becomes wouldn't. Last one. Could not squish them together becomes couldn't. Great job, boys and girls. Thank you so much for sticking with me through 2 skills today. Again, we did negative words, words that tell no or not, but we also talked about those contractions when we take 2 words and we squish them together. And that's what your exercise for today is going to be, working with some of those contractions. You are welcome to check out the extra YouTube video if you think you need a little extra practice. And that one will also probably include some contractions that are not only using the word not. So check that out if you would like as well. Do one of the activities that are there for you. And then as always, don't forget to mark as done or click submit, however you are doing it. Boys and girls, I have really, really loved seeing all of the pictures and videos for so many of you that you have been sending me over these weeks at home. And I do genuinely thank you so much for all the work that moms and dads and kids have done while we have been apart. I know we will see each other in a different way next week when we come back together, but thank you again for everything. And until next time, I love you, I miss you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.